Okay, so thank you for joining today. We're going to be talking about Blackboard and online learning basics. Clearly, I know we're all sick of hearing the phrase unprecedented times right now, but we are living through some very unique circumstances, and you may not have expected to be studying remotely. So this presentation is for anyone who's just wants to know more about online learning, whether you're brand new to studying online or you're just looking for some tips for success. This presentation is from the Distance Learning Office. My name is Catherine, and my contact information is on the slide. I'm also joined today by Pat and Carl from Distance Learning and Lydia from the Help Desk. They're going to be monitoring the chat during the presentation, so if you have any questions, you can feel free to put them in there as we go. So before we get started, I just have a few housekeeping items to go over here. Get rid of that. So you were muted upon entry today, and I just ask that you please remain muted throughout the presentation. That being said, if you do have questions, please share them in the chat. As I said, Pat, Carl, and Lydia are all available to help answer questions in there. Lastly, this presentation is being recorded, and it'll be available for future reference in the Blackboard orientation. All right, so just a brief overview of what we'll talk about today. First, I'll do a little introduction to the Distance Learning Mentors, what we do and how we can help you. Next, we'll talk about getting started with Blackboard. I'll share a few resources and tips for the best ways to access Blackboard and share some information about Blackboard orientation as well. Then we'll go over a few key features of your Blackboard courses, and I'll share some tips for each of those and talk about some common problems that students experience and how to fix them. Then I will show you how and where to get help if you need it. I'll show you the help desk and the knowledge base that they have. And then we'll talk about some recommendations for success in your online classes. Okay, so just to briefly introduce you to the Distance Learning Mentors in case you haven't worked with us before. We have two mentors. My name is Catherine, and my coworker and fellow mentor is Derek Parson. When you speak with Distance Learning as a student, you'll likely be speaking with one of us. We're here to help make your online learning experience a more positive one. We can help with technical issues, if you're having navigation problems in Blackboard, things like that that'll impact your online learning. And we can also help connect you with necessary campus services while you're studying remotely. If there's something that you need help with, we're happy to help you find that resource. So getting started with Blackboard, this might be a review, but especially since we're about a month into the semester now, but just in case, we're going to go through it, just in case anything's new information for you. So on this slide, I've included two important links. There's username and password and browser compatibility. So the first link is to myusername.ecc.edu. You likely use this site when you first were logging into your ECC accounts. And if there's ever a time when you say you forget your password or you forget your username or you want to change your password, you can do that on this site. It'll link you to change your password as well. And next, browser compatibility. So many common issues with Blackboard, believe it or not, are actually fixed just by switching to a more compatible browser. So we always recommend that students use either Google Chrome or Firefox to access Blackboard, but this link is to Blackboard's browser check, and it'll tell you not only if you're using a good browser for Blackboard, but it'll also check your browser settings to make sure that everything is up to date and optimized for Blackboard performance. This link to, if you want to reference it later, it's available right on your Blackboard institution page, which is the home page when you first log in. A few notes too on your browser settings. You want to make sure your browser allows pop-ups and cookies from ECC websites. You'll want to enable JavaScript and make sure you regularly clear your history, and your cache. And if you need help doing any of that, please feel free to either submit a help desk ticket or reach out to us. We're happy to help you to do that, to make sure your browser is performing well. Okay, so I just want to mention too, before I forget, that all of these links that are throughout the presentation, there's a slide at the very end too, that I've included all of them, so you'll have just one quick spot to reference, so you don't have to keep flipping through if you want to reference these later. So this first link is to a website from Distance Learning, where we have a checklist for your online readiness, and it'll go over just some more like technical recommendations for your device that you're using. Another note too, there is a Blackboard app. You may already know this. However, it's great for quickly accessing some course materials, like checking announcements, things like that, but we don't recommend it for actually uploading work or taking tests, things like that. We want to make sure that you always access Blackboard through a browser, and preferably, if you can, a computer or laptop versus a phone or tablet. And also make sure your device's software and your browser are updated regularly. And last recommendation then, make sure you review the Blackboard student orientation. Especially if you're new to online learning, this resource it's great. It's available to all students. It'll help you to familiarize yourself with Blackboard and how studying online works. It's structured just like a Blackboard course into 3 modules. So there's one section on Blackboard basics, one on ECC information, and one on student success. So you can review everything from how to take a test to time management skills and things like that. And it's great to, get started with this, and as well to reference it later on if you have trouble in your class. Okay, so if you have used Blackboard in previous semesters, you've probably noticed that we recently upgraded to Blackboard Ultra, which is a new updated Blackboard. It's more user-friendly and it's more streamlined. Definitely takes a little bit of adjustment, so I just wanted to go over some of the key features of the Ultra-based navigation. So the items that are listed on this slide with these icons are all included in the menu on the left side of your screen when you log into your Blackboard page. So here's just a brief description of what's on each of these pages. The institution page, as I had mentioned before, is basically your Blackboard homepage. Here you'll see links to important ECC information, such as the help desk, the browser check we talked about, tutoring, the Student Access Center, Starfish, career services, the Blackboard orientation, and more. And then the profile is your profile page where you can edit information about yourself and your notification settings. So you can get alerted from Blackboard via phone or text if new items are added to your course or you get new messages. You can customize these through your profile page or through your activity stream. Like I know personally, I get an email sent to me, forwarded right to my ECC email anytime I have a new Blackboard message, just to make sure I don't miss anything. So you can either get these sent to you right away, or you can have them sent one email a day that summarizes everything that happened in your Blackboard classes that day. Next is the activity stream. You can use this as a quick, at a glance, what's coming up in your courses. We still recommend that you check your classes regularly. Every class, make sure you go in and you're just familiar with the course layout and everything, but the activity stream is nice for being able to, see what assignments are coming up. Courses is self-explanatory. That is where you click to get to your classes. Calendar, where you can view your course due dates and ECC events. Messages and grades are 2 of the new changes to Blackboard that I think are really great. previously, you had to actually go into each class individually to view your messages in that class or your grades, but now you can access these for all of your classes right on your Blackboard homepage. And lastly, tools, and these are some tools that will help you as well with your online learning outside of your courses. So now that we've talked about accessing Blackboard and what's available when you first log into Blackboard, I want to dive into some of the key features of your courses. So instructors, as you've likely noticed if you're in more than one class, they can customize their menu options to a certain extent. So each course might look a little different, but they tend to follow a similar format. So your course menu, when you log into, when you select a class, will likely have options such as these. The syllabus to go over your course expectations and guidelines requirements. Your instructor might include a My Instructor section to talk about office hours or give you a little background on themselves. Course announcements, of course, when your professor wants to make an announcement. And then lessons, or sometimes it's called content. This will be where most of your course content is located, and this is what we'll talk the most about in this presentation, specifically like tests, assignments, and discussions. And of course, we talked about how to access messages and My Grades from the homepage, but you can also access these from right within your class if you're already in there and you want to check those. Okay, so next, like I said, we're going to go over some of the key graded components of your course, such as tests and assignments and discussions. These tend to be the areas that I get the most questions about from the classes that I mentor. So I'll just review how to do each of these and share a few tips. So some courses require more tests and quizzes than others, just like traditional classes where some rely more on papers and discussion and some rely more on regular quizzes and tests. So most classes online are a good mix of both. Your class may have tests that are, well, they'll all be within Blackboard, but sometimes professors will use like a third-party app such as, or a tool such as Waymaker for your tests, but we're going to be talking specifically about the tests that are created and put in Blackboard. So if you haven't taken a test in Blackboard before, here's just a brief overview of what that's like. I've also included a link in here. This is to a video from Blackboard that explains how to take a test as well. It's also available in Blackboard Orientation under Tests in Module 1, which is Blackboard Basics, just in case you wanted to reference that in the future. So I'll just go through these instructions and then I'll demonstrate with one of the tests that's in orientation. So first you'll want to find the test in your course content area. So it might be under lessons or content, and make sure when you click on it, you read the instructions that your professor gave you carefully. They'll include information like the time limit and the due date, things that you'll want to make sure you know before you begin. And once you feel ready, you can click Begin to start. The test answers will save automatically as you go, but if it does bring you peace of mind, and this is how I am, so I get it, you might want to click Save as you go if that helps you at all, but they will save automatically as well. When you're finished, you click Save and Submit. And then you'll see a confirmation screen that your test was saved and submitted. And there's a little button at the bottom that when you click OK, it'll move you to the review section of the test. So now, real quickly, I'm just going to show you how to take a Blackboard test. So okay, so right now I am in Blackboard Orientation, and I found where the test is located. So it's under Lessons, Module 1, Blackboard Basics, under Activities. And we're going to take the test on tests. just as a review. So we'll click on the test title and read our instructions. This test does not have a time limit. It allows multiple attempts, and it can be saved and resumed later if you needed to take a break. So now that we've read the instructions, we'll click Begin. And because it allows multiple attempts, it's telling me that I already took this test. So I'm just going to click Start New Submission. And we're going to start over. Okay, so it's just 3 questions. Which of the following is not true when taking a test in Blackboard? Looking through here, we have when you click into the test, please read the directions carefully before clicking Begin. That's true, we want to do that. Test questions will be delivered 1 question at a time or all at once. After an answer is selected, it will be automatically saved. That is true. So after completing all questions, your answers will be automatically saved and submitted. We're going to click that because we have to hit Save and Submit. Okay. Your instructor may allow you to take a test multiple times. That's true. We're in one right now. If a test timed out and you're not finished when time expires, Blackboard will not automatically submit your answers. That is false. Blackboard will submit if you're in a timed test and your time expires. So now that we're done, we're going to hit Save and Submit. And here we go. It tells me that I submitted the test and it took me 1 minute to do it. Here's when I started and when I finished. And we're going to hit OK to see how we did. And we got 30 points, so that's good. Okay, and now we're going to go back to the PowerPoint. There we go. Oh, sorry. All right, let's try that again. Much better. Okay, so let's just go over some test taking tips then. First, as we've mentioned before, make sure you're using a compatible browser to take your test. So use Firefox or Chrome. Check your browser on the browser check on the Blackboard institution page if you aren't sure if the settings are right. Next, you want to make sure you read all instructions carefully before you start your test. Start your test as soon as you can, because this way, if there is an issue and you need help from your professor or you need to submit a help desk ticket, there's plenty of time to get this taken care of before the due date passes. Also, on that point, it's worth noting that a lot of instructors will actually hide the test from student view after the due date has passed. So just make sure you're keeping up with making sure you know when the due date is and that you're starting with plenty of time. And if you do experience a problem during a test, either with the test material or a technical problem, make sure you let your professor know immediately. And if it's a technical problem, you'll just need to contact the help desk as well. Don't refresh the page during a test. Don't close the window. And don't use your browser's back button while you're in the test. So some of your courses, this is new, but some of your courses may require you to download a Google Chrome extension called Proctorio. It's an extension that will proctor Blackboard tests to discourage cheating. If your test does require Proctorio, your instructor will let you know. And if you're asked to use Proctorio on your test, You'll just need to make sure you take the test on a desktop computer or a laptop. You'll have to make sure you take it with the Google Chrome browser using the Proctorio Chrome extension. Make sure you have that added. And you'll need a webcam and a microphone on your computer. And you may need photo ID. This is up to your professor's discretion, such as a driver's license or a school ID, just something to verify with your professor that it's really you. I've included a link here as well to Proctorio student support, and you can also learn more about Proctorio on Blackboard orientation as well. All right, so assignments. Now that we've moved on from tests, to virtually hand in a paper, an essay, or another assignment, you'll just have to upload the file to a Dropbox in your class. So, for example, here's one from an English class of the upload assignment page. If you haven't encountered it yet, see it notes the points that are possible and gives directions on what the instructor expects in the assignment. So on the page, you'll see instructions on how to submit an assignment, such as an essay or paper. These instructions are all available on Blackboard orientation as well. And after I go through the instructions, I'll demonstrate for you just like we did with the test. So first, you'll need to select the content area where the assignment is. And just like with tests, make sure you're aware of the due date because, again, just like tests, sometimes instructors will make the Dropbox unavailable if the due date has passed already. So just make sure you're keeping up with the due dates and you know where your assignment is. So once you locate your assignment, click on the assignment title and it'll take you to the upload assignment page. Here you can, and that was the page that I showed in this last slide. That's what the upload assignment page looks like. Once you're on this page, you can review any instructions that your professor may have provided, and sometimes they include a rubric as well. So, and then you'll see a text box that you can type your answer or an option to upload a file. I'd recommend uploading a file unless your instructor tells you otherwise. And if you were to type an assignment in here, I would recommend that you also save it on your computer just in case your Blackboard connection gets timed out. I would hate for you to lose your hard work that you spent time working on. So when you are uploading an assignment, you'll click Browse to find the file on your computer. And this next little bullet point here at the bottom is really important, and it is one of the most common issues that I feel I encounter. So if your instructor has ever told you that they can't open your assignment, it's probably because of the file type that you submitted. When you submit a supported file type for Blackboard, your instructor can view your assignment and grade your assignment right within Blackboard. They won't be prompted to download anything, and they can make comments right on your paper as if you handed them a printed essay. So make sure that you submit a supported file format. So for essays, I'd say stick with Microsoft Word, files that end with doc or docx. And if you're not sure, I'd say that you should probably convert your work to a PDF. Again, if you need any help doing this, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm happy to help you with that. Blackboard does have issues registering files from Pages, which I know a lot of Mac users have, as well as Google Docs, for example. So make sure you convert your files if you are using one of those programs, just to make sure your instructor can view and grade your work. And then when you're finished, just click Submit. It's worth noting, too, that your instructor might only allow one attempt in the Dropbox, so just make sure you're submitting the right file, that it includes everything, and just before you hit Submit. And when you do hit Submit, a confirmation screen will come up and give you a confirmation number so that you have proof that you did your work. And as long as it's submitted in a supported file type, like we just talked about, you'll see a preview of your paper as well. So I will just quickly demonstrate this as well for you. There we go. Okay, so I am going to submit a paper in a fake class. So I already know that in my class, the paper is in the lessons folder and in module 2. So here it is right here, paper 1. I'm going to click on the title of the paper. Oh, I already submitted it. Hold on. Let me redo that real quick. Okay, so we're going to click on lessons. We're going to click on the module and back to paper submission. You'll see here that if this was a real paper, it would be very late because it was due on October 2nd. It's worth 100 points, and here are my instructions from my professor, ordinarily. Okay, so we're going to scroll down to attach a file. And here is my paper, right here. It's a Word doc, as you can see. And this link title will pop up. This will automatically be the title of the document that you submitted. So this is, you can change it to match that. So it has the assignment name as well. Once you're done, you can also leave comments for your professor if you wanted to share those. And once you're done, click submit. And it tells me I was late because it was due on October 2nd. And because it is a supported file type, it'll populate right here. So I can see a preview, I can see my confirmation number, and my assignment is in. Okay. So moving along to the discussion board. I just want to spend a little time talking about this as well. It's basically the equivalent to in-class participation. You can share your thoughts and exchange your ideas with your classmates, but you don't have to be online at the same time, which is great. Just to review some basic discussion board terminology, the forum to start is the topic. So when your professor posts a question, how did the Bills play last night? Something like that. They'll post that, and then everything within the forum is like the responses, if that makes sense. So your discussion board will be broken up by forum, like by topic. So then once you click inside the forum, you'll see threads. And the thread is each student's post and all the replies to that post. Your post is your initial comment that you submit or that another student submits, and replies then are, in response to your post. So post and reply together make up a thread, which threads altogether make up a forum. Usually a professor might require maybe you post once per forum and reply to 2 other students. And lastly, post first mode, you might see this. It means that you have to submit your own post before you can view your classmates' posts and before you can respond to theirs. So briefly, how to create a discussion post. You'll click on the title of the forum, and remember this is the initial topic that your professor posted. Then you'll see a button that says Create Thread at the top. So you'll click that, and your text box will pop up. Enter a subject, and then you'll type up your discussion post. And one thing to remember too, that if you decide to type your discussion first in another program, such as Google Docs or Microsoft Word, be sure that you click Remove Formatting. You'll see it in the toolbar above your text box, just because sometimes when you type on one of these programs and then copy and paste it into Blackboard, it comes with the formatting that it had in that other program, and it'll make it either like really stretched out so it's hard to read, or different font types, different sizes. So you want to make sure it looks nice, easy to read, easy to reply to for your classmates. And then when you're finished, just click Submit, and that'll share your post. Okay, so now jumping to getting help. If you need help at any point, you should submit a ticket to the help desk. The benefit of submitting a ticket to the help desk rather than calling or emailing one of the mentors directly is that whoever's available first can grab it and help you out. So for example, if I'm in a meeting with a student and your test crashes or something, like something happens that you need help urgently, if you contact the help desk, that can get taken care of while I'm not available yet. So just to get issues resolved more quickly, more streamlined, you want to use the help desk. So some of the common issues that students face that they submit tickets for deal with browser compatibility or trouble accessing course tools like stream videos or WebEx sessions for your class. And I've included a link on this slide as well to a really great resource from the help desk called Getting Started with SUNY Erie Technology. Let me see if I can quickly show you this too. Okay, almost done switching. Anyway, so Getting Started with SUNY Erie Technology. As you can see, there's basically every tool you might need as a student here. There's your password reset and recovery, if you needed to reset your password, your email, which you should check as frequently as you're checking Blackboard, OneDrive, where you can store files and you can share files with your classmates. And also worth noting that you can access OneDrive remotely as well. You can do this either by visiting this link, or you can access through the My ECC portal page. And then just to briefly go through the Blackboard, the My ECC portal. We have SUNY Erie alerts if there was an emergency on campus or something like that. Web Advisor, so that you can register, make tuition payments, all those kind of things. And WebEx for virtual meetings of your classes. Scrolling down a little bit, there's some information on the help desk for you, their hours and how to contact them, and some information on programs and softwares that you have access to as an ECC student, such as Microsoft and LinkedIn Learning. So this is kind of just like a great little cheat sheet of the technology that's available to you as an ECC student. Back to PowerPoint, there we go. Okay. Okay, so I believe I had mentioned the knowledge base. The solutions to a lot of the common issues that students face are available in the knowledge base. So if your issue isn't really urgent and you're kind of interested in figuring it out yourself and you don't really know if you want the help necessarily, I'd say you could look around the knowledge base. Of course, if you're totally stumped, please don't hesitate to contact the help desk at all. We're happy to help. So to access the knowledge base, you'll have to log into the help desk self-service site using your ECC login credentials. And on the next slide, I will show you right here. There are 3 different ways to access the knowledge base once you're on the help desk site and logged in. You can access right at the top where it says knowledge. You can search in the search bar, or you can click Find Answers. So if you don't see the answer in the knowledge base for the problem you're facing, or if it's too urgent to spend the time searching, there are 3 ways that you can submit a ticket to the help desk. You can either fill one out on their website. To do this, just go to helpdesk.ecc.edu and click Report an Issue. If you feel more comfortable, you can give them a call or you can email them, and they can work through possible solutions with you on the phone even, and then make a ticket on your behalf. So it's important too that no matter which way you submit a help desk ticket, you include a lot of information. Let us know, for example, the class that you're having the issue with, the browser device you're using, and a thorough description of the problem, because the more information we have, the better equipped we are to help you solve it, and it'll get done much quicker. So I want to just go over some recommendations for success. Some of these are just review from the presentation. First, take some time to review the Blackboard student orientation. This is a great resource. Like I said, it's broken up into modules, so you'll be able to get any information you might need in your class, and it'll help direct you on where to find help if you need it as well. Make sure you log into your online course at least a few times a week to make sure that you don't miss anything. Like I had mentioned with tests and assignments, you don't want to miss one of those, because sometimes too, not only can you not start it late without losing points, but sometimes your instructor might make the test not available if you try to start it after the due date. So just make sure you're logging in and you can keep up with your coursework that way. Also, don't save your work for the last minute, even in a self-paced course. I know I am definitely a procrastinator, so I get it, but also if you encounter a problem, it makes it more difficult for you and for your instructor. If you were to, like, let's say, for example, you're taking a test that's due at midnight and it's 11 o'clock and your internet goes out or something. By the time anyone can help you, it would be the morning and your test would be overdue. And so you want to make sure that you're starting your tests and you're submitting your papers early if you can, just to make sure that if you do encounter a problem, there's plenty of time to fix it before the due date, and you can still get your work in on time and not jeopardize your grade at all. Another recommendation is to save your work, such as papers or discussion posts, on your computer, just in case you have any interruptions in your Blackboard or internet connection. And lastly, ask questions. If you have questions, please feel free to ask them. You can ask your professor. You can ask anyone from distance learning or the help desk. We're happy to help. And if I don't personally have all of the answers, I am surrounded in a great team who can help as well. And there are a lot of great resources at the college that we can direct you to as well. I'd rather you ask us questions rather than struggle to figure out the answer. Okay, so as I mentioned at the beginning, I put together the links that I mentioned in here, just so they're in one spot. There might be a few more stragglers in the presentation, but this should be all the big important ones that aren't already in orientation. Okay, so that is all I have today. Is there anything, I know we have Pat, Carl, and Lydia on, is there anything that you wanted to add, or then we can just jump to questions?
I think you could probably go to questions if anyone has any.
Okay.
The chat's empty, so there's no questions at the moment.
Oh. Okay.
So at this point, I'm going to unmute the attendees, and why don't we just answer questions verbally?
Sure. And if we don't have any questions or one comes up later, my contact information is on the first slide, and I'll make that available as well, just so you can contact me there.
Okay, so we did have one question come up.
I see a hand.
Yeah, from the chat. I am not starting classes until spring and was wondering when I would have access to the orientation.
The orientation, correct me if I'm wrong, Pat, but I believe as long as you should have access, correct?
No, once you register, you have access to the orientation. So since spring course schedules haven't been released yet, when you go ahead and register for your spring class, we automatically register you for the orientation. So you can go through all the orientation material between the day you register and up until the first day of class, well, and beyond actually. But you'll have access once you register for your classes.
Thanks, Pat. Was there anything else?
That's everything we have now.
All right.
I guess whatever you guys want to do, want to read through certain one, throw me a whole new record.
Well, if anything else does come up, feel free to email me or submit to the help desk if you're having any issue, and we can chat that way as well. But thanks for joining, and have a good day.